consider membership in our Aging Reimagined Circle, become a sponsor, and be sure to mark your calendar now to attend our symposium in Chicago area on October 19, 2024. Please join us in continuing to inspire women to age with curiosity, courage, and creativity.
And today we're excited to have Jennifer Prell. Jennifer Prell lives in Hilton Head, South Carolina, but since 2003, she has been a consultant for older adults, providing advocacy, senior living coordination, and education. Jennifer is the CEO and founder of Elderwerks, a complementary not-for-profit organization for older adults, seniors, caregivers, and families, offering information, referrals, and guidance for all types of senior housing. Their event space in Palatine, Illinois, has no beds, transportation, or nutrition care, yet the multiple services her consultants offer are all inclusive, including dementia training classes. They know every facility in Illinois and believe that it is important to help their clients find a residence that is not just a place to live, but a place to thrive. So Jennifer, welcome to Women Over 70.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here with you too.
Thank you. We're excited too. So we want to know, how did you get into this work and what made you form a charity?
Well, I was helping folks pack and move, because I have a little OCD and it's fun. And I met a few people who were a little older and they couldn't really get around without a walker, but they needed to move. And they were looking online for services and found some organizations that helped them find housing, but they weren't really caring about the person they're helping. They were more concerned about the money they were making. And it kind of made me mad. So I said, I'm going to start an organization that helps older adults and seniors because they deserve the respect and dignity they've earned. And that's what I did. I've always volunteered in that space. I've always respected my older adults that I played with, because I don't consider it work. I love it. I'm not normal. It's just fun. I have the most fun job ever.
That's great. That's wonderful. A lot of people should feel that way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So do you actually help people find housing and move, or is it mainly the moving part?
Elderwerks helps find the next chapter where you're going to live. And it's not like a real estate transaction. It's lease, like independent living, assisted living, memory care, things like that. I have another organization that I'm a manager in called Paxum, and they help people move. There's A+ accredited senior move managers. I actually founded that in 2003 and sold that a year ago, but I'm still managing it and having fun in that. And so yeah, we can help connect people with any resource and any senior move manager or mover that we find of quality that helps the person first and then money second, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. You talked about a new name, Safe Moves for Seniors. What is that? That doesn't replace Elderwerks, right?
No. Safe Moves for Seniors, we're the Chicago chapter. It's a new not-for-profit that's going nationwide, and our goal is to help income-restricted seniors move. People can find a new location to live, but they just can't get their belongings there. And there's no dignity in throwing your stuff in a garbage bag and grabbing a buck and leaving all of your furniture behind because you can't move it. So our goal is to raise funds, apply for grants that we can fund those moves. So that's what I'm currently working on, the fundraising part. That's just so fun.
Wow, that's tremendous. And so we talked a little bit about seniors, and you said that it's often difficult, not always, but it's often difficult for one to accept that their health needs are changing. And so how do you work around that? What do you do?
It depends on if the older adult, the senior themselves, is contacting us or the adult child. Typically, it's the adult child reaching out because they're concerned for their mom or their dad. They're not doing well at home. They're declining. And it's typically a change in their mental capacity. People can fake things pretty readily on the phone. I'm fine. Everything's great. But when you look at someone eye to eye and see them live, when they're your family, you know when something's not right. The issue is when that person doesn't recognize they have an issue, right? So, for instance, we'll say someone's parent is at home by themselves, living independently. Everything's been fine. They've been fine forever. They're good. And there's subtle changes that you can look for, like the home that used to be neat and kept up really well is now sort of falling apart or not as clean, or they're turning into a little bit of a hoarder. You can see where they're nesting, and nesting is where they sit and don't move, right? They sit there all day, and you can tell they're eating there, they're sleeping there, they're not getting out of that chair. If that's happening, they're not getting the necessary socialization to keep them well and thriving. They are going to decline more rapidly by sitting around and doing nothing, and it could be for many reasons. Depression, management of the medications isn't appropriate. They're taking too much, too little. Or maybe their mental capacity has changed, and it's time to think about opportunities to support them in the home or transition them to a safer, more vibrant community.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And so you started Safe Moves because some people are income restricted, and there's lots of facilities or places for people to move to get the care that they need, but not everyone can afford it. And that's a issue.
It is. Money means opportunity, right? If you have money and the means, you can go anywhere you want. When you are on a fixed budget or you have zero income, which we've helped folks like that as well, it is more difficult. I'm not going to lie. It is not easy. If you are completely independent, it's harder. Because senior apartments, low-income senior apartments, there's anywhere from a 3-year on a lucky good day up to 15-year waiting period. I know one that's 30 years waiting for an apartment for 30 years. Not easy. But if you do need some assistance, Illinois is a great state because there is property. It's called supportive living. It's assisted living for seniors, and they accept private pay as well as Medicaid. So you can go in either way. Those are also filling. They're pretty full. Some do have waiting lists, but there is more opportunity in those facilities than there are in just a regular senior apartment.
Save your money, ladies.
Yeah. Long-term care insurance is your friend.
Right. Yeah. She said,
can I just follow up on that?
Yeah.
Talk about that for a minute, because you mentioned long-term care insurance. So explain how that fits into finding housing or getting care.
Well, it depends on your life, right? So I purchased long-term care insurance when I was 40 because I am a road warrior. I was putting 200 miles a day on my car. And I'm like, these people don't drive as well as me. What happens if something happens? So I purchased early. That's not normal. Normally, people purchase long-term care insurance between around 60 and 70. The younger you are, the more affordable it is. And the really neat thing about long-term care is there's hybrids where you can purchase a long-term care policy, but it's also life insurance. So if you never ever have to leave your home, that's fine. But if you pass, at least your family has some income coming in at that point. But long-term care gives you the opportunity to live your life well as long as you can. And then depending on the policy you purchase, it's usually 3 to 5 years coverage. And then after that, you pay privately, but at least you're getting 3 to 5 years of high quality living. So it does help.
And what does it buy you exactly?
It depends on your policy. I don't sell it. And that's my full disclosure. I sell nothing. But long-term care insurance can get you a home care provider at home. It can pay for assisted living, sheltered care, long-term care. And it's 3 to 5 years. Usually it's a daily rate of anywhere from, depending on the policy, like $300 a day on up for whatever period of time. There are some really old policies that are open-ended, which means you get your long-term care insurance till you die. And that's why a lot of long-term care insurance companies went out of business because they weren't expecting everyone to live so long. Good for us.
Right. Catherine, you were going to ask something.
I sort of forgot, but I do have another question. You mentioned in the introduction, Gail, you talked about dementia training. Can you talk about that, Jennifer? Tell us what that involves.
Yeah, sure. So Elderworks has an education division. It's run by 2 nurse trainers, and we provide continuing education for professionals, nurses, social workers, nursing home administrators, professional counselors, and other professions for many, many aging topics, pretty much for any aging topic. That's what we do. For community members, we do a lot of programming as well, including dementia education. What is dementia? How can you help your brain stay strong? Brain games. How do you care for someone with dementia? All sorts of, there's a ton of different topics, but it's all based on the person's needing the assistance. We try to gear our education to what we're seeing more readily in the news, or we're getting contacts for by phone or email. You know, we get a lot of inquiries for a lot of things, and dementia is the biggest problem we have in the aging sector, if you will. I already know that I'm going to have dementia when I'm older. So that's another reason for long-term care. But many people don't plan for it. And so what happens when your loved one change? What happens? What do you do with the person? How do you keep them engaged? How do you keep them safe? And how do you respond and keep your sense of self? And the most important thing is keeping your sense of self, taking care of yourself. You do not have to give it all for your loved one. Just because you're married does not mean you have to die caring for this person. You can both have a very good life together. And we're trying to make sure that our caregivers take care of themselves. We don't want them to pass early because of the stress that they endure. It is.
Well, I'm really glad you were mentioning caregivers, because we talked to someone previously who said that caregivers are kind of the invisible patient, because they have many needs, support needs as well, but they're not visible to a lot of the care team.
They also don't like to show their own pain. Most caregivers they're supportive. They're big-hearted people, and they're just amazing. They're amazing humans, but they don't take care of themselves because they're giving it all. They don't want people to know they're in pain. They don't want people to know they're in crisis themselves. They are taking care of someone else. This person needs all the attention, and that's not true. I'm 100% with that fact that they need support. If I could do more for them, I will. We do have a support group for caregivers. We do have some classes on self-care, taking care of the caregiver. I know a lot of our nurses are in that realm, the social workers. There's a lot of stress in caregiving, professional or the home caregiver.
Sure.
Seems like you're a 360 service provider.
We're trying.
Angles of the help that is needed and to serve people.
Well, our team is fabulous. Elderworks, when we hire someone, we try to find someone who's got the biggest heart. You know, they care first. It's all about the caring. It's all about that part. I can teach the other stuff, you know, how to use a database or the business side, which is boring. But the people part, if you don't have it, you don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. Wow.
I'm trying to get a handle on you, Jennifer. It's like you have so many hands in the fire or whatever. So it's just, you're a fundraiser, you direct programs. It sounds like you teach. What do you do?
Well, that's Elderworks. Elderworks is a lot of us, right? There's about 12 of us. I just run the background stuff. I talk to families when they want help from me. I always tell people, you don't want my help. I'm terrible at follow-up. I'm always on the phone and always in meetings and always doing the back end things and development. I have a fabulous team. I have social service personnel. I have advisors who tour these communities and get the feedback from the families and help the families directly. I have my education team, my advocacy team. They're amazing women. We don't have any men. It's not on purpose. We just don't have any. But our team is, I would say, one of the best in the state. They're just givers. They're very tired sometimes, but I love them all.
Oh. So, and do you provide finance and legal services? Did I understand?
We refer finance and legal services. So when we're doing an intake for a family, it's not just about housing or care at home. It could be many things. So our interview with the person is finding out who we're trying to help. What are their medical limitations, their physical limitations? What did they used to do? to have fun? What can they still do to have fun? And what do they want to do in their future? And then we figure all of that out. And then we ask, well, so what do the finances look like? Because I don't care. You're rich, you're poor, you're in between, whatever, it doesn't matter. But we have to not dangle a carrot. That would not be nice, right? We try to find the best housing appropriate to them, or a home care provider to keep them in the home. But in asking these questions, is there a power of attorney in place? Especially with cognitive impairment. If there's any cognitive impairment, you have to have a power of attorney representing you well. If there is no power of attorney and the person's cognition is really further along the way, then they have to go into see an attorney for guardianship. An emergency guardianship is very expensive. That's why we want people to plan for their futures. Power of attorney is only implemented when someone's not able to make a decision for themselves. And people are scared. They're like, I don't want you touching my money. I don't want you making decisions for me. Well, they're not until you can't. What happens if you get hit by a car and you're in the hospital? And do you want the hospital to make the decisions for you? Do you want the state of Illinois to make decisions for you? Because you become they're your custodial of you if your family is not. I don't think that's a good idea, personally. Mm-hmm. And if you don't trust your family, trust your best friend, right? Mm-hmm. And if you don't have friends and family, there are trustees you can hire to help you make those decisions or make the decisions for you. All in writing. They will follow you, whatever you want in writing. But it's important for everybody to plan for their futures. And the future does include the end, because we're not all living forever. I've not met anybody who's been alive for thousands of years. So you have to plan. It's just part of life.
And planning for the end means what to you?
Planning for your end is making sure all of your financial pictures in place to protect your assets for your family and not go into probate and not give a third of your income to the state or to the attorneys, and to make sure your family's taken care of or your charities are taken care of and that your end of life wishes are taken care of. If you're sick and you can't take care of your decisions, do you want CPR? Do you want a feeding tube? Do you want a trach? Do you want everything done for you or only a little done for you? What do you want? Because this is a very personal thing. It's not about me or you. It's about the person. And funeral planning. What does your funeral look like? What's your celebration of life look like? Everybody's different. Some people want to be buried. Some don't. Some want to be cremated. There's also, in the Jewish world, we're not allowed to be cremated, but there is cremation by water now. Pretty neat. So there's some really wonderful things you can look at for your end of life. Yes, it's scary, and no one wants to talk about it, but it's down there. But if you plan for it, it's a much easier way for you.
Yes.
And your family, especially if you like your family. If you don't like your family, then, well, whatever. But
that makes so much sense. So, Catherine and I are pretty healthy, and but we're climbing the decades. And so what do healthy older adults need to think about as they age? A few things just now. Yes.
Yes. Well, there's a big difference between healthy and unhealthy, right? It doesn't matter the number, what age you are. I could be I'm 55. I could be 55 and be bedbound. I have met a 105-year-old lady who looked like she was 70 in better shape than I was, right? Mm-hmm. So it's just a matter of who you are, what you like. So every year you should plan for your future, because you have a future until you don't. Mm-hmm. So let's say you're 70. Well, let's see. From 70 to 71, this is what it looks like. I already planned out for 5 years and 10 years, but for the next year, this is what I want to do. Get your bucket list items. Make sure you have enough money for your food, your medications, your rent, or your mortgage if you have one. Hopefully you don't have a mortgage anymore. If you want to take your vacation trips, make sure that money's there for you. And if you can't take a vacation every year, what year can you take that vacation? Because are we planning that far in the future? I would think have fun while you can, because our needs fail us and maybe we can't travel as easily. Maybe our eyesight's going, so we can't see those beautiful anything anymore. Like the Eiffel Tower. Yeah, it's big, but what about the flowers and the tulips in Holland? Can you see them well? I don't know. You have to take everything into account. And then if you do want to leave a legacy, that's fine. But my philosophy is you've earned the money, and that money should be for you, for your care needs till at least 100. Whatever's left after that, fine. But I have had people who said, well, my kids need it more than me, and they're living like paupers. They're not eating well. I just don't understand it. I just don't understand it. So,
We're not in that camp, are we, Gail?
No, we're not. Jeff.
good. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Jennifer, I'm wondering about sort of the state of caring for elders, and you and your colleagues are providing wonderful services. But when you look across the United States, what do you see?
I see a shortage of caregivers is what I see. There's a lot of at-home caregivers, which means they're taking care of their loved ones, but they're giving up their job. So their income's going down to take care of a loved one. Their stress levels are going up. That is nationwide. The lack of care, the lack of caregivers, the lack of employees is very detrimental to our world. What I do see on the positive side, a lot more education on all kinds of different opportunities for aging. Illinois, honestly, is one of the best states to age in. It's not great for snow, and that's why I moved out, but it is a great place to live when you're older. Some states don't have supportive living. They don't have all of the services in place. They don't have all the housing options. For instance, you move to Florida, you need to be wealthy. They don't have low-income housing. They do mixed population, but we don't ask our seniors to move into mixed population. When Elderwerks helps someone, it's strictly senior building. It's safer in a senior building than anywhere else. Less opportunity for fraud and scams. More people helping each other age in place. And that's what we want as a community. It doesn't have to necessarily be a senior community, independent living, assisted living building. It could be a natural place where there's older adults. It could be a community where everybody watches out for everyone. We were just talking about that with Oak Park. It's a beautiful thing when your city steps up to help everybody and age in place and take care and protect and watch out for each other. Not all the cities are like that.
That's great. So what alternatives have you seen for living in regular senior living housing and continuum care? Are there other opportunities for older folks?
Well, there's always opportunities. There's living in your own home. There's bringing in a friend and living together with your friend. I've seen that, like a group home type setting, but really just with your friends. There's senior apartments where it's just seniors living there. There's independent living, which is a building with those who live independently, but there's some services in place, emergency call buttons, some meals, things like that. And the reason people do move into buildings is there is safety, and you don't have to go out and shovel the snow, take care of the landscaping, drive your car, you get transportation, things like that. City of Chicago has high rises, and that's a natural way for seniors to know each other and age in place and take care of each other. You can move in with your children if you want to, and you come up with an agreement before you move in. It's hard when there's very strong-willed people living together, right? If people are more amicable and calm, I'm not a calm person, so it's hard for me even to think about being I don't think I could live with my parents. So my dad is a AAA personality and I'm a AAA personality. We kill each other, right? So you have to know the limitations of who you can live with and know that the person who owns the house is in charge of the house. And so sometimes that's not easy when you move in with your kids, allowing them to be the adults versus your child. Difficult. So you need to know if you're really capable of doing it or you're just trying to be generous, but it might kill you. So be careful.
Aging in place, I know that many people are advocates of that and there's support for it. But how does aging in place, do you have any concerns about socialization and people not becoming sort of isolated in place?
Yes. If you were always an introvert and never had a lot of friends and didn't leave the house, that's one thing, right? But if you are a social being who's always been active and always been social, and you have had a lot of friends and family around you and you're aging in place, great. But once your friends start passing or your children move away or you're not getting out of the house or you can't answer the door or you can't make yourself dinner or you can't go to the mailbox, then it's really time to start thinking about moving. And people are like, I don't want to leave my house. It's a house. It's somewhere you live. It doesn't matter. You take yourself here and you go here. Guess what? That's your new home. It's still home. Wherever you are is home. People get stuck on the idea that the bricks and mortar is the home, and it's not. And I think the biggest thing is losing their memories. They're very much in fear of losing those memories because that's where they raised their kids. That's where they have had all those wonderful parties. But if you don't have an active lifestyle and you don't have the friends coming in, why are you just staying in a box? It is not a place to live your life. It is just you're waiting to die. If that's what you're waiting for, that's sad. I would not want that for my parents. I would definitely, if I saw them staying at home and not getting out and being with their friends, I would ask them to move to a senior community, especially if they were independent. If they have full cognition, it is your parents' responsibility to make that decision for themselves. And you cannot tell your parents what to do. The biggest problem we have as adult children is we tell our parents what to do. We treat them like children, which is so inappropriate, right? Mom, you have to, you must, you're going to. All bad words. None of those words are going to help anybody, right? You can come with ideas like, Mom, have you thought about? And bring your mom to some community so it's not scary. All of the senior communities will help you with getting to know the people there. You will meet people. You can have a meal there. You can go to activities there. You don't have to move in. Go check it out. It's not scary. The scariest thing in the world is the unknown. Mm-hmm. So the more you educate yourself and the more you know, the better off you are. And then you can make an educated, informed decision. And if it's not right for you, fine. Stay home. You don't know until you try.
That's wonderful advice. Very good.
You are so wonderfully direct and clear. And are you like this with your clients? With your
yes.
Is this what we see is what they get?
This is pretty much what you get. I'm like this all the time. It's good sometimes and not sometimes. You can talk to my children. They get annoyed. I am very direct because sometimes, making fluffing things, I call it fluffing, is appropriate at times. But when you're talking about someone's life, I don't agree with that. I think that the more direct you are, the better off the person is, even if it hurts them. And I'm not saying, oh, by the way, you're going to die. No, nothing like that. But if I say to someone, oh, you've got lots of years. Well, how the heck do you want me to know? I'm not a doctor. What I can say is you have choice. The choice is always yours, unless you have no choice. That is also your choice. So more power to you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jennifer. You've given us quite a bit to think about.
Thank you. Well, that's kind of what I want you to do is think. Because it's not my decision, is it?
And listeners, because of your loyalty, our numbers continue to grow. And still, we do need your support. So visit womenover70.com, join Aging Reimagined Circle, or make a donation, and let your voice be heard and help change the conversation about women aging.